So what we're going to do is simplify. Pretty much everything we're doing in this unit is simplifying. And what we are doing specifically is the product. What does product mean? Don't say the answer. What does product mean? Multiplication. The product of two binomials. So we're going to multiply together two binomials. And I'm going to show you several techniques for this. Okay? There are three methods. I guess that's what the two in my erase. I call it double distributive property. And this one ought to feel fairly comfortable when I show it to you. You don't know how to do that unless you remember from last year. Okay? All right. Double distributive property. Okay? Now, the idea behind double distributive property is that each term in the first binomial has to get multiplied by each term in the second binomial. So,
I think we did this.
well, you may have done it, but I want you to recall something that you learned quite a while ago, and that was learning how to multiply like this. Do you remember this? Yes? When you had 2 digits times 2 digits? And just think through the process. You didn't just multiply 2 times 3 and 4 times 6, right? You multiplied 2 times 3, which is 6, and you multiplied 2 times 2, which is 4. It's not really 4, though. What is it really? Well, it's not really 4.
46.
It's really a 40, yes? So you multiplied the 2 times the 3, and then the 2 times the 2. Then you were done with the 2, and you skipped over and you multiplied the 4. 4 times 3 was 12, right? You had to carry 1. And 4 times 2 was 8 plus 9. And you remember why you skipped a place right there?
Yeah, you put the little happy zero.
You put the happy 0 there. Why?
Because it's really...
It's not really 92. It's really 920. Do y'all see? And so what you did is you took this 2 and you multiplied it, and then you took the 4 and you multiplied it. That's the same idea. Yes? Okay, so this is sort of, I already know how to do this, and we're going to take that same idea and do it with binomials. And it looks like this. I'm going to take the 2x, and I'm going to multiply it times the x plus 7. There's distributive property. And then I'm going to take the 3, and I'm going to multiply it times the x plus 7. Okay? All right, so now you know how to work the problem, because we have worked this problem before, correct? What's 2x times x? 2x squared. And what's 2x times 7? 14 what? X. And what's 3 times x?
Yes.
And what's 3 times 7?
21.
21. Okay? So you did your distributive property. Okay. Sometimes people like to draw arrows for that. I'm going to leave them off. I would like to draw one arrow, however. See this plus right here? It goes right here. Bless you. In just a minute, that's going to be a minus. So that's one thing you need to know. If that's a plus 3 up here, it's going to be a plus 3 right there. Okay, and the last thing is to add your like terms. So we don't have to do that. 2x squared plus what? X plus 21. Those two things are the same thing. All right? Double distributive property. Right? Let's do one with a couple minuses in it. Because you know, anytime a problem has more than one minus or more than one negative in it, we tend to have a little bit of trouble. Okay? This is pretty straightforward. You ready? Okay, we're going to take x, and we're going to multiply it times 4x minus 5. Okay? We're going to take this negative right here, this negative, You put it right there. It's gotta be there. With the 3. So don't put a plus 3 there, you put a minus 3. Does everybody see? And you put again 4x minus 5. Now this is just a good point to, a good place to point out to you that whatever's here, this goes in 2 places. It goes here and it goes here. Y'all see how that's kind of the same thing as multiplying the 2 numbers that you used to do? Okay? Alright, now we've got to do our distributive property. We've got to keep up with our signs. So x times 4x is 4x squared. And x times minus 5 is negative 5x. And negative 3 times positive 4x is negative 12x. And then you're going to be careful. The next one, negative 3 times negative 5 is plus 15. Okay. So we basically do one step, and then we have a problem that we already know how to work. Okay, add your like terms. Be careful with your signs and with your addition and subtraction. Okay, is that easy enough? Yes? Okay, so what did I call this method?
Method 1,
Double distribute. Okay, let's look at method 2. Did I actually know where that one? I wonder if it shows up that I backtrack when I do this. Nothing like it. Method 2. I think so. I really don't have any idea.
Oh yeah, it's not on there.
I minimized it. So we'd be out of my way. The vertical method. Now, some people love this method, and other people are like, I will never do this if you don't make me do it. Okay? I will make you do a little bit for homework. Okay? So the vertical method looks like this. That's the same problem or not. If it comes at you horizontally, that's fine. But to make it vertical, you just put one of them on top. It doesn't matter which one. And the other one on the bottom. Whoops, chopped that wrong. Okay. Okay, and you need to remember that you are multiplying, not adding here, because when you just write it down, you can't really tell that. Okay, so you say, what's 5 times 3? The answer is 15. That's a positive 15 because of this plus right here. Then you say, what's 5 times 2x? 10x. Now this really looks like that multiplication that you used to do. Okay, now I'm going to switch colors. I've taken care of the 5. Now I'm going to take care of the x. What's x times 3? Yeah, where should I put that? Under the x. Put it here. Line it up. Okay, and it's plus 3x, again, because of the plus. Okay, and then x times 2x, which gives you 2x squared. I'm going to put that out at the end. Now this looks a whole lot like the way that you used to multiply 2-digit numbers. Okay, so it just turns into a vertical format. Then you add your like terms, which are all going to be lined up. So what do you think about that? Like it? See, and people feel very strongly about those two methods. Okay, it doesn't make any difference to me which one you use. Let's do another one, because after we do one with the pluses in it, we've got to do one with the minuses in it, right? You can put either one on top. It doesn't make any difference. I think when you learned how to multiply numbers, your teacher usually told you to put the biggest one on top, generally, although it didn't make any difference, but it doesn't matter. So I'll put x minus 4 on top, and I'm going to put 4x minus 1 on the bottom. Now here you have to watch out for signs. Okay? Right? These two together. That is not 1 times 4. That is negative 1 times negative 4. Y'all see it? Everybody see the negative 1 times negative 4? So that answer is going to be plus positive 4. It's going to give you a positive 4. Okay? Alright, and then you're going to do negative 1 times x, which is negative x. I'm going to put negative 1x just to make it clear. You've got to keep your signs attached. Everybody see? Okay, look at the next one. What's this gonna be? 4 times 4x times negative 4. So what is it? Negative 16. And then 4x times x, which is 4x squared. You see that you get 4 things, and it's just lined up differently when you do it vertically than when you do it the other way. Yes?
Oh, would you prefer us not to put the 0 under the 4?
You can put the 0 under the 4 if it makes you happy. Okay? It does not matter one bit. And then add your like terms. And there you go. Okay? And right now, do you feel like maybe you have a preference for one over the other? Yeah? Okay. It's fine. Tonight's homework, you have to do 4 one way, 4 the first method, 4 the second method, 4 the third method, and then there's 6 of them, and you can do whichever method you want. Okay? What does that mean? Hopefully not. We'll see how far we get. Okay. Ready for method 3. Now you've got to learn this method only because people are going to say it. They're going to talk about it and use this language. But when someone tells you you have to do this method, you can actually do one of the other two and it works. Okay? It's all.
I swear we've learned this.
You may have. Okay?
Yes. Yeah. But I think we've already done this one. I remember.
I can pull up the notes.
Yeah, I can pull out my phone and writing.
How cool is that? Let's just go ahead and work through them. That's too funny. Okay, well, let's see if you can do it. Okay.
Foil and foil.
Well, because I don't like making my eye like that, so I tend to make it a different way. Just put it up there. That is too funny. Really?
Yeah. This was like money for last unit.
Okay, well, that's cool. All right. All right. Now, it ties into this one, so we need to get it, make sure we've got it. When I do FOIL, I want you to make sure you get these things in the right order, okay? This is F for first. Everybody remembers this then? That's so so 3x squared.
Outer inner left.
Oh, very good. Outer.
And you talked about like it looks like a face kind of.
Oh my gosh. That is too. When did I have done this? I'm gonna have to go back and look at my notes.
I'm trying to find it.
I believe you. I will go back in mine as well. Okay? Well, then I'm not going to keep going. I'll put, we have done this. No,
You know, because I know was I seriously I know I just yeah, we learned it all. I mean, I could use my head this. Here.
It's too crazy. Well, it's not going to hurt us to do this now, but we'll treat it as a review. Yes.
First.
Because the stuff from January is going to go on the exam, right? So it won't hurt us to do this, okay? Yeah, first, this is outer, inner, and last. And if y'all will remember, what usually happens is the inner and the outer can add together. So one way I want you to look at doing this is a different way of writing it down. So let me give you one more example. And think about writing it down this way, okay? You may have done this before also. I cannot believe I did that in January. What a strange thing for me to have done in January. Okay, I'm all discombobulated. Okay, one of the ways I want you to consider doing this problem, it is first, outer, inner, last, but I want you to consider writing it this way. Listen, I want you to consider doing the outer and the inner first, and doing them like this. Draw a line, and get negative 6x. Draw another line, look at that space I left, and get 4x, and writing them right here. This is going to be useful in something that's coming up in another day or two. Okay? You see how we've just done the outer and the inner there? Everybody see that? Okay. Not required, but I think it's just useful. Then, go back and do your first over here. X times 2x is 2x squared. This is your first. And right here, put your outer plus your inner right here, minus 2x. And then put your last at the end. Actually, when you do it like that, it actually often ends up being less work once you get used to doing it that way. It's like writing down less work.
Can we take the double distributed?
Okay, I believe you. I completely believe you, but it isn't going to hurt us to review it, and that's what we plan to do. Okay. The thing we're about to do after this is go backwards from this, so having this in your head is going to be kind of important. It's really sort of mind-blowing that I forgot that we did it all together. Let's do another one.
Is it okay if we do double distributed?
Okay, I need you to learn this method because there are certain times when this method, when we go backwards, that this method makes the most sense. Okay, when we're thinking about going about it backwards. Okay, so I need you to see this method. So once again, I want you to think about doing the form method by doing the inner and the outer first. So the inner right here is negative 2x, and writing it down. And the outer, see I've left a space for it, is
15.
almost
Negative
15x. I'm going to put those two right there, okay? And then underneath that I will go and do first, which is 3x squared. And then I'll put my outer plus inner, which is negative 17x. And then I'll put my last, which is plus 2. Okay? So you've got 3 methods, and you can use any, in the homework you're going to use 4 problems one method, 4 another, and then you get to do it any way you want to. And you certainly don't have to write this. You don't have to write that down. So you're just recognizing that the inner and the outer get added together. Okay? And then actually by the time you get through Algebra 2, you'll sort of start doing some of that work in your head. You won't even write the inner and the outer down, you'll just write the answer down. Does everybody see how this works?
I like that.
Yeah, it's really helpful when we do the backward stuff, which is coming up next, okay? All right, then, okay. X plus 3 quantity squared.
Is this
It's still,
Can I take 3?
it's still part of, well, actually now this is choose your method, I guess. Okay, what you have to see about this problem is x plus 3 quantity squared is x plus 3 times x plus 3. You need to write it out or you're going to mess up. Some people think that they can get this answer by a shortcut. And there is a shortcut, but people don't remember it, so I don't like to teach it. So now you're going to do the whole thing, and I'm going to do the FOIL method like this, because that's the way I like to do it. Okay, so less writing. Now you do your first times first, which is first times first, x squared. Then you put these two, which is 6x, and then do your last times last, which is 9. Now, another reason for doing this at the same time as what we just did is compare this to this question. Because I need you to see that they are not the same thing. Do y'all see that they're not the same thing? What's the difference in them? They're both different. One of them's adding, the other one is multiplying. So when I do this one, I can just square the 3 and square the x. I don't have to do any kind of fancy writing the workout. And what happens is people look at that problem and they think they're doing this problem. Okay? They're not the same. Y'all all see that? Yes? One more example. Okay, now this is not a binomial times a binomial. What is it? It's a binomial times a trinomial. Okay, FOIL does not work. Did everybody hear that? FOIL does not work because FOIL has only got 4 parts to it, and this problem needs 6 parts. Okay, so what you want to do is either double distributive. I'll show you that one. You put the 2x times 3x squared plus 4x minus 2 minus 1 times 3x squared plus 4x minus 2. Y'all see the double distributive way of working? I'm going to let y'all finish that one. I'll check it 2 more times. There's a lot of noise going on. 4:43, we got about 5 minutes. Okay, so this is going to give me 6x to what power?
6 to the third power.
Third power, and then 8x squared and 4x. And then watch out for your minus right here. Pay attention to that thing. Okay, it's negative 1 times the 3x squared, which is minus 3x squared, and negative 1 times the 4x, which is minus 4x, and negative 1 times 2, which is positive 2. They haven't ended up in order. You need to put them in order in your head and add your like terms. And descending order is usually the order of choice. Okay? Easy enough? I'll have negative 4 and a negative 4. Okay? So that's one. Double distributive. Okay? Or vertical method. If you do the vertical method, put the trinomial on top. It makes the work fall out a little bit easier. Put the trinomial on top and the binomial on the bottom. Okay? And we want to get them lined up correctly. I have to just go back up so I can see it. 3x squared plus 4x minus 2. So 3x squared. Somebody double check me that I copied that right. Look on your paper, is that the trinomial?
X squared plus 4
Okay, and then underneath it, you're going to put the binomial, which was 2x minus 1. And draw your line. Okay. Now, do you remember back in middle school doing 3-digit numbers times 2-digit numbers? Yes? So this is the same idea. You do the negative 1, and once again, you just have to watch the signs. And this way, things end up lined up. Okay? So right here, what am I going to do? What am I going to actually say right here? I'm not going to say 1 times 2. What am I going to say?
Positive.
Well, how do I get it?
Oh,
Negative 1 times negative, so it is positive 2. Okay, Shayla. Okay, and you keep working across, so negative 1 times 4 is negative 4, and negative 1 times 3 is negative 3x squared. So I see? Then you do the same thing with the next one. You do 2x times negative 2 and line it up. Whoops. Negative 4x. And 2x times 4x, which is 8x squared, and 2x times 3x, which is 6x cubed. So the only benefit of the vertical method is you end up with things more lined up. Okay? That's the only benefit. Usually people feel very strongly about vertical method. They either love it or they hate it. But you get the exact same answer either way that you do it. Okay? Does that make sense to everybody? Okay, so okay, so Lauren said we did this in January. You put at the top of this review. If you needed more notes, go back to January. But I think we did enough notes to go along with it. Yes? Okay, distribute what?
Writing your head.
Maybe we'll get all of these right? Yes? Wouldn't that be cool after last night's homework? So the first one is by double distributive. This means you've got to show work, right? The second is by vertical, turn over on the back. The third is by foil, and the fourth is any way you want to. That makes sense to everyone? Yes. The second worksheet is similar to one you worked last night. It's a packet. I am not giving you another one. There's actually 3 worksheets, I'm sorry. I know. Okay, because I always feel like we need to hit this twice. My experience tells me that people, I don't know what y'all did exactly, but I have a feeling that there were at least sections of it that you didn't get right.
I think it's the exact same thing. We already did this.
It's a different one. Look at the, I redid it with different numbers. Isn't it?
Yeah.
Yes. So I imagine what I did is I copied the worksheet and left all the questions the same, but I changed the problem. And then I may have, instead of changing saying the degree of the third term, I may have changed to second term. Okay?
So can we cross out the pledge?
What? Yes, you can cross out the pledge. And the last worksheet.
Was this like a quiz at one time?
I think what it was, I'm trying to remember, it doesn't look like a quiz to me. I think one day I was absent, came back in the sub and left me a note about the unimpressive behavior of my students. And I was ticked. And their homework, their notes had been taking notes on how to do this. And so the next day I said, get out your notes and work this in its pledge. And that without me helping them or talking to them, and I agreed.
Like a past tense.
It wasn't a quiz, but still, it was annoying. You know what I mean? Open notes, but if you've been screwing around in class, you would have your stuff, you know? So, it really, really hurts me when my kids don't behave like that substitute. That's like, that's misbehaving in front of company as far as I'm concerned. Okay, so this is a mixed worksheet. There are mixed things for you to do on here, okay? And you have to figure out which one am I supposed to do, and or how do I get the right answer to this. But since we've already done some of this, it shouldn't be too hard. Okay? I'm sitting here going, why do I have all these papers left over? And that's because all these people are not here. All right. And then,
Yeah, no, it's a super small class. Now I feel like I don't like them.